Welcome to the Riviera Firefly podcast with your host, entrepreneur, and my mum, Antonia Bozan-Brown.
Welcome, Fireflies, to your latest Riviera Firefly podcast. Thanks for tuning in. So far, 2,000 downloads. That's amazing, and we really appreciate your time. Whether you're listening in the car, or you're on a run, or you're cooking, it's great to have you here. Coming up, we have a quick and to the point pod from Hannah Share from Riviera Nannies about Instagram, and some tips and a challenge for the April holidays. So listen in. First, I'm going to tell you a short story. Once upon a time, there was a mum called Antonia. She had 2 gorgeous teenagers and a handsome husband. When she wasn't busy being a mum and a runner of all things household, she had her own company to run, looking after 150 other children every week. One month, it was March, despite all of the kiddo team's excellent planning, because they really didn't like firefighting, they decided they had to make a strategic change. This was a fairly big, unplanned change and would mean they all had to redo lots of planning. Such a pity, as they were already well ahead with Plan A. But there was this new opportunity that was going to make them happier in the long run, even if it meant replanning. So they had to put other projects onto the back burner for a while and work on the new strategy. Luckily, Antonia had a fantastic team. 10 supportive, positive and happy team members all pulled together with ideas on how to make things even better than before. And as one of the team said, things happen for a reason. They got to work. Even Brexit couldn't keep them down for long. Along the way, there were more challenges. A podcast interview that had to be cancelled, thunderstorms that did lots of damages to fences and gates in Antonia's home, and so lots of time was spent doing jobs that were urgent but not anticipated. And of course, with Murphy's Law, this meant that the teenagers also chose this month to do their very best Harry Enfield Kevin impressions. You know the one, YouTube it. Kev becomes a teenager for the very first time. What challenges you makes you stronger, Antonia kept muttering to herself. The long, intense days replanning, and with the 2 Kevins at home, Antonia was getting too tired to come home and have to work on geometry and Spanish vocab. And then the clocks changed, oh la la. An idea had been bubbling in the back of her head for a while. Her own business coach had told her to outsource more. Outsource the things you don't like doing. You are the CEO of your company. You are in charge of strategy, not the doer of everything. Gradually, she began to give more and more of her responsibilities to her team. They liked this, and they were able to show how brilliant they could do these more important jobs. They felt trusted and valued and empowered. Antonia was happy too, because she had more time to go out and do networking with other CEOs and find out how they did things. There was still the problem of running the household tasks though. If Antonia was honest, this wasn't where her interests lay. She was fed up doing laundry and could use this time much better to do strategic work for Kiddoland, or spending important quality time with her family. And finally start painting or playing golf, walking the dogs more, perhaps learning an instrument, doing something for her Me Club. Anything that was going to fill her boots, as she was starting to realise the work-life balance is actually made up of the 3 boxes: work, home and oneself. Suddenly from nowhere appeared the fairy godmother Google. "I can help," she said, and sure enough she did. Together they created a job advert to find someone to do the laundry and all those tasks that Antonia didn't want to do anymore. Not only would this make her really happy, but it would have a knock-on effect in turn which would make Mr. BB happy. And the teenagers, well, they were just exhausted from their day at school. They leave the house at 7 and often didn't get back until 6. So they wouldn't have so many weekend chores. It was going to make for a happier household. She felt so much happier when she pressed publish on the advert and wondered why she hadn't done it before. Looking back at her 12-week goals that she'd set in January, she realised she was just about to cross off another objective she'd set herself. It felt so good to be able to free up more of her time to do the things that she was good at and that she enjoyed. Tune in next time to find out how the interviewing process went and find out if they're going to live happily ever after. Well, I hope you enjoyed that short story. As I mentioned in the story, things didn't go to plan over the last couple of weeks, and so things that we had hoped to share with you today, we can't. But I'm hoping that through this story, I've been able to share a few key takeaways. Number one is plans do not always go to plan, and that's true for everyone. Number two is people won't necessarily share their dirty washing on Facebook, but everyone does have challenges, and you just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on. And that was really my March. It was like that, and I'm so glad it's April now, and like my team member said, things happen for a reason. So something good is going to come out of it. Number three is don't be afraid to ask for help, but do make sure you ask help from the right people, people that are going to bring you support and raise you up. Avoid the naysayers when things get tough. That's precisely what I did in March. I kept my head down and I surrounded myself with the people that I knew could help me find a new strategy. And outsourcing is key. Obviously, not everyone is able to do it. There is a budget, but I looked at the projects that I could work on strategically and what I could bring in financially from that. And I figured out, actually, I could outsource some tasks to others and the money that I would bring in would be more than the money that I would pay out for those tasks. And thanks to my mastermind chat today with some of my peer-to-peers, I realised I need to do more of that. So I'm going to use Upwork to outsource some digital work and free up more of my time, maybe people per hour, and of course some of the Facebook groups to find other people to work on things that I traditionally have been doing myself, but I'm now going to outsource. If you've got 4 minutes left, then I'm now going to hand over to Hannah from Riviera Nannies, who uses Instagram a lot. We had to record this in a busy environment. Time was short for us, so you may hear a little bit of chatter in the background, but it's not going to steal from her message. Social media marketing world is one of the world's biggest social media conventions. It's just finished in San Diego, and the clear message from this year's was that video is king right now, specifically video live in Facebook, and that as Facebook has now become really saturated and overused, Instagram is now going to come to the fore, into the spotlight moving forward. So here we go, over to Hannah with Instagram. Okay, I'm back with Hannah Scher from Riviera Nannies, who is going to help me, and I'm sure lots of you out there, with some top tips. So social media is massive, and I have to admit that last year I was pretty much a novice in everything except for Facebook, because that's my platform, that's the one I like, is Facebook. Instagram, however, you are a good user of Instagram, and I just wondered if you could share some of your best practices or tips with people that, like me, are total novices and maybe have the app on their phone and no idea of how to use it.
Sure, I use Instagram. When I started using Instagram, I didn't think that was going to be my platform, because I thought Facebook was my platform, but it's not, apparently. Because Instagram is where people like to talk to me, and you kind of have to go where your audience is, right? So Instagram is, as you probably know, a photo-based social network where you post a photo and a caption, and you can do hashtags. And what I've noticed is that, you need to have good photos, and you can use the same photos, over and over again, not after each other, obviously, but, you can recycle your photos and your content and post them with maybe different captions.
So are these photos that you take yourself? You're down on the beach, you might take...
I do. I do. And if you're not a good photographer, I would actually ask someone who is to take the photos for you and just have them on your phone. And just sort of logistically, there's ways to organize them into like folders. I do it on my Mac. In Photos, I have this shared folder that I name for the different accounts, because I manage 3 or 4 accounts. And I just get a bunch of pictures onto there so that I have a lot to choose from when I want to post. And that's just organizing it. The other thing is, you can use hashtags, and you can Instagram actually shows you which hashtags are
good for your business.
Are good for you. Well, so for me, I have a one pregnancy thing, and if I type in pregnancy, it gives you like tons of different suggestions
of the most popular ones.
Of the most popular ones,
ones
exactly.
That are trending. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's so you can experiment with that. And
what about, there's an app you mentioned that you can use to take photos with, or Canva, was it?
Canva, yeah. Canva.com is a really good website where you can make visuals in the browser, and then you save it to your computer, and then you put it in the folder with your photos. That's a really great one to use if you want to put images on text or whatnot. It
saves so much time.
It saves, and I mean, for me, I personally do like a whole bunch of them at the same time, and then I post them as I go along.
So if you're just starting out and you're just getting your Instagram account, you've just set it up. So mine might be like Kiddoland, Addoland. I think I've got one like that. I've got my picture taken with Canva or really somewhere. I post it. How many should I be posting a week?
It really depends. I actually post less than I thought I needed to post. I probably post like 3 or 4 times a week. Most people who have businesses probably post every day. I've noticed that the most interaction I get is when I post like every 1 to 2 days.
Okay. And do you reply back to people when they comment?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it depends on what they say. If they're just saying, oh, something super short, then I like their comments. Yeah. Because you have to be nice. And I reply back if it's like an actual reply, and but
so if they had a question, you might reply. So it's really important to reply.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very important to reply. You also get direct messages from people, so there's a whole sort of.
I have to go and check my account. I've probably got loads. I haven't even looked.
So it's like you get messages there, and you can start. You start developing relationships with people. And another thing to build your audience, you need to. Find other accounts or like other accounts that people like you, like your clients like. So, for example, I would go into a person, if I want to reach a person, I would go into her account and I see who she's following, and then I follow them and try to build a relationship with them, right? Okay. And that's also how you get people to follow you, because a lot of people follow you back.
So let's set our listeners a challenge, okay?
Yeah.
Let's tell them that, what should we do? How many Instagram posts should they do in the next week?
I mean, I think, just to be realistic, aiming for maybe 3 or 4.
Okay, 3 or 4 posts on Instagram, everybody, in the next week.
Yeah.
Use Canva if you want to, or WordSwag is one I use, if you haven't got time to go out and take the images. And try and find a similar type business where your client might go and follow them. So I might, for example, my clients all love organic food. I could maybe follow one of the organic food shops and try and link up that way.
Yeah, and also look at who's following them.
Yeah. Okay.
And follow those people, because if they might be, if you think that if they're interested in their business and you think you have the same clients, they might be interested in you as well.
Fantastic, brilliant top tips there from Riviera Nannies for the Riviera Firefly podcast. Thank you.
Come and join our supportive and nurturing Facebook group if you want to connect with local businesses and gain some quality followers on Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn. It's through quality followers that you can really grow your business, and you can get that link on rivierafirefly.com. Click on Business Cocoon. So over in my Facebook group, Cote d'Azur Living, we have 6,000 members now, and I asked some ideas for the holidays in April, and here were the top 3 answers. Phoebe Thomas from Le Messugo, which is a gorgeous apartment rental in Roquefort-les-Pins, said we should check out the first ever month-long garden festival on the Côte d'Azur. It really does look great, actually. It's got pop-up gardens, show gardens, gardens open to the public and more. And I know that Scape Design, they presented a garden in Nice and they won the Professionals Prize. Well done, guys. So you can check that out, festivaldesjardins.department06.fr. Or if you click on the image on your podcast, you'll be able to find the show notes with the link to that website. Hannah French suggested the live musical evenings at the Roots International Bar in Valbonne. Well, that was a great idea. They're on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I love Roots. It has a really lovely atmosphere. Mr. B loves the range of beers that are there. And if you're the designated driver, then I can personally recommend the spicy ginger ale. It's delicious. Again, their link will be in the show notes, but you can go on facebook.com/rootsvalbonne. And finally, Farana D suggested you could try out Riviera Touring. I've never done this myself. I'm going to have to add that one into the to-do list. You can go with them for some guided Vespa and motorbike tours in the area. It sounds like a really unique and fun way to discover the French Riviera. So feel free to join in the discussions on Cote d'Azur Living, and the top liked answers are going to get a shout out in these pods. I recently met the directors of Riviera Monaco, and they have got a promotion coming up in April. So from the 1st to the 30th of April, you can go and do a panoramic flight over Monaco for just €35. Brilliant for the kids to go and do. You can find them on heliamonaco.com. That looks like a really good deal. Okay, it's book club time, the moment where I'm going to share some great reads that I've done in the last month. The Other Hand, or also known as Little Bee by Cleave, was a recent book choice in the book club I go to. It's a really thought-provoking book. It makes you think about the refugees, what they're leaving, what they've had to go through, and gives you a very new perspective on things. On Audible, I've been listening to Built to Sell by John Warrillow. I don't really like the narrator's voice, but the content is really tying into my work on outsourcing tasks right now and training others up to do tasks so that I am freed up and I can become the CEO of the business. Come to Cote Living or the Riviera Firefly Cocoon and share your fun books or your business books. I'm going to make a list of all the books mentioned in the last 10 podcasts, which you can then download on rivierafirefly.com/book club. Well, I hope you have loads of fun over the holidays wherever you're going to be. We will be back with a few short pods over the Easter holidays, and then we've got really cool things coming up after the Easter holidays that I can't wait to share with you. Thanks for liking us, but most of all, thanks for subscribing to our channel. It means you're going to get it automatically, and we're not going to have to go around and tell everyone through the Facebook groups, which would be really great to not have that job to do. That just leaves me to wrap things up to say that our sponsors, Kiduland.com, have opened inscriptions for the summer. They're going to be in the Golden Tulip Hotel, absolutely stunning hotel in the heart of Sophia Antipolis and Valbonne. And we've also opened our inscriptions for September. So go and check that out. I'll leave you now with Louis.
For 0 to 16-year-olds in term time and in the holidays. Try dance on Wednesdays for 3 to 4-year-olds or computer programming for 8 to 12-year-olds in the holidays. It's all in English. And there is an amazing summer program as part of Adeland where us teens can learn valuable skills and get to know the community. We will also be going on fun outings like sailing and to Salto. That was my idea. Check it out at www.kiduland.com.
This episode was brought to you by Riviera Firefly for Cote Living by your host and my mum, Antonia Beauvoisin Brown. Please subscribe, like and share. Until next time.